Land Rover's new Defender was a long time coming and a tough assignment. Refresh an icon? Yikes. Personally, I think they nailed it and turned it into a modern classic. They went to great lengths and now they're doing it again.
This is the Defender 130, a stretched 3-row version of the British rolling landmark. And well, I'm not exactly sure what I think about it.
As far as the exterior design goes, nothing really much changes. It maintains its boxy uprightness, very properly British. The only place where you're gonna see a difference is back here in this elongated rear end. Now, I don't know about you, but anytime you're saying that about something, it's not normally a good look. And I don't really disagree here.
Proportionally, the Defender 130 doesn't look quite as proper. Both the 110 and especially the 90 carry their proportions with aplomb. But when it comes to the longer, over 13-inch overhang on the 130, I believe in the design sense, it suffers.
Another way it's going to suffer is in the departure angle department. So if you're taking this off-road, you need to consider this, which is why for the 130, we're just going to do an on-road test. If you're curious about how the Defender does off-road, well, the inimitable Jeff Glucker and I did a full video when the new Defender first came out. Check out the link here. You can watch it. Come to think of it, you should just subscribe to the KBB YouTube channel, because if you had, well, you'd have seen it by now.
Your departure angle decreases from a max 40 degrees when you're in off-road height, which is that 11.5 inches, to a meager 28.5 degrees. That's jolly less. Lest you think the new Defender is pinky out delicate, think again. This thing gets a killer suspension, and I think that about both the standard suspension, which is a double wishbone up front, an integral link in the rear, and the air option. That's what I'm driving now. This thing eats up all kinds of bumps and imperfections in the road, making the ride truly, truly comfortable. Its geometry is impressive, especially on that cute little nugget of a 90, and it gets things like a stellar wade depth and a max ride height of 11.5 inches. That's a lot of stuff that you can roll right on over.
Just like on the 90 and the 110, there are several engine options available on the 130. The base S gets a 3-liter inline 6 that gets a mild hybrid. You get 296 horsepower there. That's the P300. Or you can get a little cranked up version of that, which makes 395 horsepower. That is the P400.
If you move up to the SE trim level, you can only get the higher powered P400. You can also get a supercharged V8 P500, which gets you 493 horses.
That might be as many horses as the Queen actually had. I wonder what that would be in corgi powers.
There is also an outbound trim, which is equipped with the P400 powertrain. That one doesn't come with the 3rd row, however, just room for 5.
Speaking of that outbound, it actually gets a ton of cavernous cargo space to the tune of 88.85 cubic feet. You could put all your gear in here if you're, say, trekking to Antarctica or just taking the kids to see Granny in Scotland. Couple of wild card things about driving the 130. Not getting any wind noise, but I am getting some road noise. It's not super distracting. This is, kind of a utility SUV, so I expected a little bit. It's not a deal breaker. But I love the sound of the engine on this thing. Like, it's actually got some growl, it's got some like it actually makes you feel like it's doing something, and I think it sounds really good. Visibility, when it comes to looking out and kind of around you, the pillars on this, except for the A pillar, which seems normal sized, but the rest of the pillars in this are beefy and thick. And you are going to be very glad for all of those electronic eyes that you have around you to see, because there are some pretty significant blind spots. I'm in the P400, and as far as acceleration and power feels, I gotta be honest, this feels actually really substantial. I don't feel a whole lot of lag. That's thanks in part to that mild hybrid. Even with the extra heft on this thing, 5,700 pounds, I really do feel like at least this engine option really does kind of make up for that. As far as weights go, you can stash 1,700 pounds worth of gear in the back of this. The roof can take 661 pounds. Now, how will acceleration be with all of that gear in there? Nah, it's really hard to say. But right now, straight line, kind of digging it. Kind of would like to see what the V8 does. Huh. So where I am really feeling the extra size is around corners. You know, that extra 13.3 inches of heft, it does affect maneuverability a little bit. I mean, not horribly so, but you definitely do feel it when you are kind of trying to take turns a little bit rapidly. When it comes to the interior, you are not going to be suffering in here. Yes, while the design is minimalist, it is still very luxury. I mean, after all, we Brits are quite reserved. Well, some of us. Yes, this is an OG mug.
On the base S, you get leather seats and steering wheel, a leather gear shift. You also get tons of safety features, including lane keep assist, traffic sign recognition, and adaptive speed limiter and adaptive cruise control.
But all this, and we still haven't talked about the third row yet. That's what this whole thing is about. So we're gonna do that right now. You get a slider on the second row, which is very helpful and handy. Gets a little bit more forward motion when you put the seat back forward, but the space in which you have to get back here is a little tight. So you guys, you're not shoving anybody of any importance back here, I don't think. Once you're back here, the knee room is pretty good. I'm not like super cramped, and there is some headroom here. Plus you get this nice sunroof. There are some cup holders, there are vents, you get little lights in case you want to read a book or something. But as far as size and capacity goes, I'm gonna say this maybe is not fit for a queen, but it'll fit little Prince George and his super cutie little brother and sister, so perhaps fit for a future king.
On the 130, buyers also get 19-inch wheels, LED taillights, and a full-size spare, always handy when tramping about the Highlands or the Valley. Even the smoggy San Fernando one I traipse around in.
You get all the same software that both the 90 and the 110 get, so that you can do all kinds of crazy off-road adventuring. You know, as luxurious as these vehicles look, you guys, these are really built for off-roading capability. So you have the terrain select response. You adjust your ride height right here, and you can raise up the Defender pretty easily. You've got hill descent control. You can turn off your traction control if you're trying to drive in a little bit of sand. So as far as the capabilities of this vehicle, it's really set up for you to do pretty much anything you want. As they say in Blighty, this is a proper bit of kit.
A couple of bits to mention about the interior. The UX system Land Rover uses is vastly improved. Yes, it's still layered and a bit inelegant, but it's so much better and quicker and integrates Apple CarPlay easily that I'm not going to complain. I also love the exposed hardware. It's nice contrast to the luxe materials and colors. I will, however, complain about the volume knob being a reach across the Atlantic over here on the right side. But hey, this is a British car, and for those right seat driving, this is an appropriate spot. The base S130 has a starting price of $69,100. That's your entry, and you go higher for the X Dynamic SE and X trims. And the outbound trim splits those with an $84,500 click on the register. The V8 gets $116,600 worth of sticker shock. The outbound trim is the one that Land Rover wants you to be super interested in, and you should be if Meridian sound systems, a rear view camera, heated and cooled seats that have headrest adjustment, and better all-terrain tires on 20-inch wheels are your jam. Oh, jam. Where are the scones?
Me, I'd get the smaller wheels and jack this thing up on BFG KO2s. But the real question is, what would have QE2 done?
Bottom line, you're still going to get a luxurious space to be in while you're getting into the outside. Even though you won't be able to do it quite as much as if you were in the 110 or 90, if you've got more gear or people to load up, then who cares?
If you've got one of the original Defenders and you feel like it's in need of a little bit of love, we've got you covered. Click the link above, head over to kbb.com, and we can help you figure out what you should be paying for repairs.
If something big and luxe that can still off-road is what's on tap for you, then look at the Jeep Grand Wagoneer and maybe the Lexus LS 600. The Infiniti QX80 has got some off-road chops, and then there's the homegrown competition in the Range Rover, as that now comes with an optional third row. But of all these, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find something as capable as the Defender off the beaten path.
Is more more? Well, here it is, though that's not necessarily always a good thing. However, if you are looking for more interior space that's cavernous for both passenger and cargo, and you're still looking to have a fancy good time while adventuring thither and yon, then yes, Defender 130. This one is for you, Granny. Now where are those cucumber sandwiches?